Today, we are not just watching a trailer, we are dusting for prints. The new footage for the Spider-Noir series, well, it's not really a preview, is it? It's more like a crime scene, one that's been meticulously crafted and packed with clues, misdirections, you name it. So our job today is to basically step into the shoes of a private eye, piece together every single clue, and try to build a working theory about what's really going on here. So grab a notepad and let's get to work.
The show is telling us, look, this world is going to be a tangled, confusing mess of lies and shadows, but we promise you there is a truth to be found. So our job as the viewers is to ignore all the noise and hunt for that one single crucial thread. This is our directive. This is our guiding principle for this whole breakdown.
So here's how we're going to crack this case. First up in A Web of Mystery, we'll lay down the ground rules. Then in the Universe Trends to Disorder, we're going to examine all the weird evidence from the crime scene. From there, we'll build a complete psychological profile of our main guy in The Hero in the Hole. After that, we'll look at the event that kicks this whole thing off in Chasing Ghosts Together. Then we'll dig into the motive, the bigger picture, in Fighting is the Point. And finally, we'll go over all the loose ends and lingering questions in It Sounds Crazy, I Know.
Okay, let's open the file. Section 1, A Web of Mystery. See, the trailer doesn't just throw us in at the deep end. First, it sets up the rules of the game. It paints this picture of a world that is just hopelessly complex, a city wrapped in lies, conspiracies, things that just don't make sense. But right at the beginning, it gives us the key. It promises that inside all this chaos there is a pattern, a straight line to the answer. It's a classic promise of the detective genre, right? No matter how dark it gets, the truth can be found if you're just stubborn enough to keep looking.
And this is so crucial. This is a show making a pact with us, the audience. This is not going to be one of those things you just sit back and watch. We're being deputized here. The creators want us to put on our own trench coats and sift through all the evidence right alongside our hero. Our mission is to find that one piece of testimony, that one overlooked clue, that single thread that, when you pull it, the whole thing just unravels. This hunt for clarity inside the chaos, it's not just a theme, it's the engine of the entire story.
Now, let's move on. Section 2, The Universe Trends to Disorder. You know, every investigation starts with collecting the evidence, and this is where we start pinning things to our corkboard. And we're about to see just how different this version of 1930s New York is from what you'd read in the history books. Because the stuff we're about to look at makes one thing crystal clear. This is not your average detective story. We're dealing with something else entirely.
Okay, so look at how the evidence is laid out for us. It's actually a pretty brilliant progression. It starts with something abstract, almost philosophical. Universe Trends to Disorder. It's this feeling of cosmic dread. But then, bam, it becomes terrifyingly real. We see a newspaper headline screaming about Axelian monsters on the loose. So that cosmic disorder, it's literally taking shape and stalking the streets. And what's the result of that? You see the crime scene, the chalk outline, and you hear that panicked reaction. My God, is he dead? This brings the threat right down to street level. And it all leads to that classic noir sentiment. The world's a dangerous place. But here it's not just about gangsters with guns. It's about a world that's fundamentally coming apart at the seams.
But here's where the case takes a really sharp turn. This cosmic chaos, it isn't just something happening to the city, it's happening inside our main character. It's physically manifesting in him, turning him into this living, breathing piece of the world's strangeness. This is the core twist that really elevates the story. And how, you ask? Well, this next exchange tells us everything we need to know.
It starts with a scene that feels like it's pulled straight from an old black and white movie. You can almost smell the stale cigarette smoke. Someone leans in, maybe an ally, maybe a femme fatale, and asks our hero the question every hard-boiled detective eventually gets asked. What happened to your face? It's basically a badge of honor in this line of work. It tells you he's not afraid to get his hands dirty, that he walks into dark alleys others run from. And then he gives the response we're all expecting. It's straight out of the Tough Guy Playbook, page 1. I walked into a door. You know, the classic stoic deflection. He's putting that wall up, hiding the pain, keeping up that unbreakable facade. And at this moment, we, the audience, we think we know what's going on. He got in a fistfight with some goons, probably shook down the wrong guy. End of story. But then comes the twist. With 3 simple words, I'm glowing, right? The entire genre just gets flipped on its head. This is such a masterful subversion of what we expect. The injury he's hiding, it isn't a black eye or a busted lip, it's a supernatural affliction. The disorder of the universe isn't just out there with the monsters, it's inside him, literally radiating out of him.
And in that single moment, the rulebook for a traditional noir mystery just gets thrown out the window, and we are plunged headfirst into the weird. Which brings us right to section 3, the hero in the hole. Okay, a glowing detective is a fascinating idea, but a story is nothing if you don't understand the person behind it. So now we're going to shift our investigation from the outside world to his internal one. We're going to use the dialogue from a mysterious client shows up out of the shadows, offering our reluctant hero a case that's definitely going to drag him into a world of trouble. It's the catalyst. It's the external push that forces our hero to stop looking inward at his own grief and start looking outward at the city's problems. Ready or not, the story has just officially begun. Now let's take a look at the case file here, because the details, or really the lack of details, are so revealing. The subject, an unnamed friend. Their status, disappeared. And the available information, almost none. The client even admits it. You haven't given us much to go on. But then look at the part about our protagonist's role. Why was he hired for this impossible case? Because he's glowing. This is a massive revelation. His strange supernatural condition isn't some secret he's trying to hide. It's the very reason he was hired. The thing he probably sees as a curse is, to his new client, his greatest asset. So he's standing at this huge crossroads. On one side, he can keep chasing old ghosts. Keep dwelling on Ruby, stay alone in his hole. Or, on the other side, he can take this new job, investigate a new disappearance, and, this is the crucial part, he gets the offer to maybe be alone together. It's such a poetic parallel. He's being offered a chance to trade one ghost for another, but this time he won't be hunting it by himself. This job isn't just a case, it's a lifeline. It's a chance to connect with someone, and a chance to finally, as the trailer says, put that shovel down. Okay, on to section 5, fighting is the point. So far, we focused on the what. A missing person, a glowing detective, a grieving hero. But now we're going to zoom out and uncover the why. Because the trailer makes it really clear this isn't just about solving one case. It's about answering a much bigger question. In a world that is fundamentally broken and spiraling into chaos, why even bother to fight at all? What's the point? And the trailer offers some surprisingly deep answers. Let's look at how the trailer justifies the fight, because it builds in these 4 distinct stages. First, it's just about survival. All you can do is fight to keep the chaos from your door. It's selfish, primal. But then it evolves into a sense of duty. The people could use a hero. Suddenly, it's not just about saving yourself, it's about saving the whole city. From there, it gets even more serious, to the grim reality of it all. May the best man live. This isn't a game, it's a zero-sum struggle. And finally, we get the ultimate stakes. This is how it ends. This implies that this fight isn't just one of many. It could be the final battle for the soul of this world. And it all comes together in this one beautifully cynical line. Fighting is the point is the best show in town. Now on the surface, it's a dark joke, right? The violence and chaos are just a spectacle for a broken world. But on a much deeper, more philosophical level, this is the thesis of the whole story. If the universe really is trending toward disorder, if everything is ultimately meaningless, then the only meaning that exists is the one you create yourself. The struggle itself, the act of pushing back against the darkness. Even if you know you might not win, that becomes the point. It's a really profound idea hiding inside a superhero trailer. And that brings us to our 6th and final section. It sounds crazy, I know. We've examined the crime scene, profiled our subject, and established a motive. Now, like any good detective, we have to review the final, weird clues, the ones that don't quite fit, and see where they lead us before we close the file. This line is just pure genius. Well, it sounds crazy, I know. The character isn't just talking to someone else in the show itself is talking directly to us, the audience. It's acknowledging its own wonderfully absurd premise. A glowing Spider-Man detective fighting cosmic monsters in the 1930s? Yeah, it is crazy. By winking at us like this, the creators are building this bond of trust. They're basically saying, hey, we know this is a wild ride, but we're in on the joke with you. Just drop in and enjoy it.
And so, our investigation ends right where it began, with that tangled web. We've been promised that pulling the right strand will lead straight to the answer. But which strand is it? Is the key to all this the ghost of Ruby's death? Is it the new case of the missing friend? Or is it that strange, glowing power that's both a curse and a gift for our hero? The trailer masterfully lays out all the suspects, all the clues, but it leaves us with the ultimate question hanging over this entire case. What truth lies at the end of the strand? For now, the case remains open.